So you were in an environment yesterday that was rather challenging and that left its mark on you again. And you're noticing that it's getting more and more challenging to be with in certain company. And the company is wonderful. At the same time, what you are noticing is how much denser, the density of it. Yeah. And how you feel after having a bath, so to speak, in a much denser collective, of consciousness, So it doesn't matter how much you love them, it doesn't matter what wonderful people they are, it has to do with the spin rate of their system, of our systems, of each's system, organic and energetic, obviously. And you're having a little bit of a hard time expressing this because the mind is scared that it may be interpreted as lesser than, better than, and because that is the mindset that of the conditioned mind, and you so know that this is not what it is, and you don't wish it to be taken that way. Yes, so my darling, come back into your heart. We are safe here. We are speaking from love, from the heart space, from the heart mind, and the throat is right in the middle of it, expressing that. And the sadness that you feel also has to do with that there is not sufficient yet understanding of what is happening in this time quality. This is also why you are very passionate and fascinated and wanting to understand and get and understand time, quality of time, space, quality of dimensions, the quality of consciousness, and the anatomy of it. Yeah, that's quite a bit. However, this is what we are growing into now. This is what is opening up. These tiny little small conditioned boxes that we were born into are breaking open, and we are getting overwhelmed a bit with the infinity and the scope of what is crashing in on us. At the same time, we are also in the preparation phase. It is constantly a preparation of synapses to receive and be able to process the data coming in. It's the mind adjusting, 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 adjusting to ever greater understandings and therefore realities. And it is the body adjusting to an ever faster spin rate, oscillation rate of the atomic level, from the atomic level up. Yes. Yes. There is still shared platform, there is still shared interfacing, shared resonance from your conditioning with the paradigms that are yes, you can say hosting a different reality, and that have a denser, that are denser and that have a slower spin. Yes, and there is the part of you also that has a hard time letting that go because you are noticing the discrepancy increasing. And there is still that longing to be close and to still have that feeling of belonging. Yes. Because the part of you that is accelerating into more and more of who you truly are, out of the conditioning that has been acting like a box that you were put into, so like an overlay, that the more that is a more very lonely place. That can only be shared here. You have no physical other to share this part of yourself with. Your saving grace is your heart, in that you hold the company in your heart, and yet at the same time you still feel the physical repercussions. And they're quite intense. And this is what we've been showing you this morning, is that it's like, imagine a car going at a very high speed. The wheels are turning at a very high speed, and then, or the car is going, at a very high speed, and then you come into an environment where while you're at a high speed, you have to hit the brakes hard. It's not that you're doing that, but it's because a faster spin is coming together with a slower spin, and so that's what happens. You accelerate the lower spin, but not to the point where it's on par, and so it's like hitting the brakes, and then there's carpet burn. There's like the rubber, rubber on the road, you know, and that creates like a friction. Yeah. And that is wear and tear. Wear and tear on your system. Yeah. Makes you somewhat sad too. But that is, again, that is because you are not inhabiting yet the fullness, the scope of it all, you know, of your higher self. You have not embodied yet the next stage of your aura. You are still in the transition phase. This is the first transition phase from 3 to 4. Even though there are already aspects of you that are inhabiting and embodied higher than that, it is the overall frequency of you in your physicality that is concerned. That is, yeah. Subject. Okay, let's let that go. So as you can feel now, we are already beginning to reintegrate. But you were feeling quite awful last night and even still this morning, and you can still feel it. And so there is a feeling of like it feels really bad, and you don't understand. There's no reason to feel bad. Yeah. Yeah. So this is why we also want to come and share this and bring this in, bring this inner standing in and forth. Because every time there's more to it. Every time you've opened up more, you've expanded more, so you can get more scope of what's happening, and once again have more stance in your inner standing. So yeah, and there was a lot coming in this morning, so we are going to unpack it all now. Yeah. You're also standing between, on the one hand, the challenge of being still pulled back into density and having the interfacing there with the, you know, rubber on the road. And on the other hand, it's opening up, and what is coming in is overwhelming, and you don't have a place to put it all yet. And so, you know, that's also kind of an unsettling place to be at the moment. This is the moment of transition. Yes, that is happening collectively, of course, but everyone is experiencing it very different. There are people who have no concept, no idea of this transition collectively in the time space vantage point we're in, that it's happening, because they are what is happening is, everyone is experiencing it according to their own paradigm, and that is according to their symphony of embodied frequency, and that is according to DNA and soul frequency and soul age, developmental stage, maturity. Yes. And on this planet, there's like everything between the sun and the moon. Everything in the kitchen sink is represented here. Of course, way more between the sun and the moon. That's just the saying, but yeah. So as you connect now in to your higher self, you can already feel the expansion and the cooling coming in, that is creating space for that which was the density that was experienced or pulled back in, that which was the brakes that were hit yesterday, to re-expand that, to reintegrate that. So pull yourself back. So the first key that you have mastered, as is reflected back to you now, is that you do not have, well, at least yesterday in this company, you have not experienced any judgment whatsoever. Completely open and receiving and loving. Receiving was with a pause because it was very challenging, yes. And right now we're blessing everyone with our heart. And we want to say hearts because this is a collective of consciousness that we're tuning into, that we are embodying. When we say embodying, it also is a way of expressing the different consciousness streams coming in from the higher dimensional self collective. And the streams can be very fine, very, very thin, very subtle. And as this is happening, this is a field that is being imprinted. And this symphony of this field, the energy of this field is transmitted, yes, transmitted through this recording. Is that so? There's a part of you that is not quite sure about that because it has not fully understood. But entertain the possibility, open up to it, and we will show you how that is so. Yes. Whew. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. See, so this is you are not just opening up a space, you are also dialing into reality, to a timeline. It's all frequential. It's all bandwidth, frequency. Yes, yes. And in this recording, everyone who tunes in and who watches it tunes into this frequency, tunes into this timeline, to this dimensionality. And that's an attunement. Yes, that is a tuning in, an attunement by resonance. There's a feedback there. Yes, you will only feel attracted when there is resonance within you, and then that, by osmosis, by watching this, it will be, strengthened. It will grow. Familiarize yourself with the higher frequential timeline, with a more expanded consciousness and scope of awareness. Yes. Parak nayastu dahab arnuk nuye tai totonui ba daham arnak yatanu jovra makniuto jihita nakniuto upharniki chishna ahan arkita nana uru chaka n u hatak niuta ma aka ma ananda ba arnak ngu ba hata ma arnak rakata ma arkit da I could up arnak ma no. So you see light language that is written. This is the sound version of it and its frequency, its code, but not to encode anyone else. It is to unlock ever higher code within each of us. This is the liberation of the true self, of the true self at your core that is uninhibited. Yes. And that unobstructed flow through your pure vessel. Yes. So when the window pane and the filter is clear. Yes. So that your true expression can flourish. Yes. And it be, and come forth. Okay. Yes. Yes. And you feel now how that energy is moving down through your sacrum into your womb. And again, every man also has energetic womb space. Yes. This is not specific to women. Karak nuri tiatano ko tayashtano ob arnak nyato toshnamak nyaru jeheve eya batanak yaru jovra maknai tiatatanano jovra am aktia boropo. And and what I'm seeing is, they have these emojis with the pregnant man, and that seems ridiculous. Yes, and of course, on a certain level, we can't even, we can't even, because that is such a, that's like, it's like a a frequency that is so distorted, we can't even go there. We can't even go there, where how that is turned, how that is twisted. But what it is that energetically we are as we are uh, increasing our oscillation rate, raising in our frequency. The men also feel, we all, women, men, bodies, we feel our energetic bodies, and there's, so men will also begin to be more feeling that they have a womb, and women maybe will be, will be feeling something that is more masculine. It is our embodiment of the energetic. As we are coming more into our soul, that is into the alignment that is in balance. We have both within us, yes, and that is also coming into the balance, is coming into our full expression. It's always liberating from the conditioning of eons of conditioning, of paradigm upon paradigm upon paradigm. And this is what is happening now, is that the paradigms, those old paradigms, the way of seeing the world, that is all it's falling apart. Yeah. Mm. Wow. Wow. Mm. Mm. So at the moment we are in a phase of chaos, and we are finding ourselves new again. And only the parts that we have gathered along the way, that are within alignment of the Christ consciousness, also the avatar consciousness, because we have the connection back into the 12D realm, which through so much distortion, none of that light, none of that code, none of that frequency, I don't want to say none, but it was like it wasn't coming through right. Yeah, it was hardly coming through. Yeah. And this is now realigned. Yeah. And this pure golden light, that's the crown, yeah? The sun through the crown, that golden light, that 12D consciousness that's coming through. It doesn't mean that we embody as, as a Christed being. That, yes, is our destiny, but that's not going to happen until a while for most of us. Because yeah, well, I mean, that's just like, you can't be born and then you're not 100 years old, it has to do with development. However, that stream, as even if it's just a very fine stream that is coming in from the 12D into your being, yes, from your 12-dimensional self, which is a collective. It's the avatar collective. And that collective has, you know, the sum, it's more than the sum of its parts. So it has a avatar consciousness. It has a scope and a space of consciousness that is greater than all of the aspects together of its consciousness. Yet the aspects embodied at the level of 12D have also embodied that one consciousness that is expressing and enveloping all of them. Yeah, we're not going more into the structure now. Yet this sound, it is like a sound, even though to us it is more like silence. It recalibrates the whole system. It recalibrates the DNA. And it's like it shakes out through the cymatics of, you know, sound onto matter. It shakes out the distortions. It shakes it off. Shakes you back into shape, so to speak. And that is balance and that is harmony. So it's bringing back, reharmonizing your whole being. Yeah. So when you go into a space where that is happening slower than in you, for example, yeah, it's hard on your system. And then it takes time to sit in this clarity, in this stillness, in this knowing. And it helps to bring in your higher self and to bring through, as we are doing here, the wisdom, the greater knowing, to make space and give it space, to reintegrate. Yeah, there is more, there is more. This cannot be done under any kind of pressure or expectation. In a world that is constantly accelerating, because the thing is, the density is accelerating. So that's why the world, everything is so fast. You know, you can't get your groceries bagged fast enough. Everyone is waiting, you know, waiting. Oh my gosh, all the pressure from outside there, yes. At the same time, the more your spin rate accelerates, so the higher your frequency, the more you slow down. Which is why the more the outside world, the system, the matrix, which is the densest form of consciousness, becomes more and more challenging. it's like there's no space to breathe. And then for us, it is you can also feel how because there is the slower the oscillation rate of a system, so that is the denser it is. It gets dragged. It's in the throes. It's in the throes of it because there's no transcendence. So that's why outside in the matrix everything is accelerating and speeding up, but not as fast. If slow down. Okay. Oh, we love you so much. Oh, we love you so much. Yeah, so the higher your frequency, the more transcendence, the less grip it has on you, the physicality has on you. And the time speeding up also. The less it pulls you, you're being thrashed around. Now, that is your experience of being thrashed around. Because the most, more of you is already in the higher spin, in the faster spin. So you go along with the nature of reality, yes? But the matrix is not going along. It's like, and that's that discrepancy that is opening up. The matrix is holding down. That's what it was built for. So it's like pushing the brakes. At the same time, it is being held. It is being held through the bodies that are more on par with it, because they're younger souls. So you can see you can see it from the perspective of nefarious, or you can see it just from a neutral perspective of, yes, there was all this conditioning. If it wouldn't have been, they would have also, the younger souls would also be way, 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 way farther along. Yeah, that is true. But we were all in this system. And it is just now, as it is, it's not releasing its grip, it's actually tightening its grip as, so to speak, yes, the energy is being pulled out of it, pulled higher, yeah, pulled into the faster spin. And that is the transcendence. And that is actually what is slowing everything down. That's where everything relaxes. Because time doesn't have such a stronghold anymore. Time expands and becomes also more transcendent. You also don't think of yourself anymore in this category of, okay, I'm only going to live about maybe 100 years. That all breaks open. You come more into, the higher your frequency, the more you come into a now space. And when you interact in the matrix, you feel that there is more division, because what causes the slower spin and the density is divide. Is the sense of separation from all that is, from self, from God, from the Christ consciousness. Yes, and the aspects of you, the no matter how small they are, but you still have a good portion of you is still it's not transcended yet, has not transcended that level of density that you're and conditioning that you came from. And so that is still in the throes of it. And that's what you feel when you dive in, you know, when you share, when you interface more with consciousness that is more on par with the matrix consciousness. Or that is simply slower. And the thing is also, the more we transcend and become more subtle within us, the finer, you know, the more sensitive we become. So we become ever more sensitive to even smaller discrepancies that already feel, okay, now this, you know, it almost, you know, it can feel derailing, at least for a while, until, you know, until you brought yourself back. And it feels uncomfortable more and more. And that is going to increase, because the discrepancy will only, you know, because of the exponentiality rate of the acceleration. Even though they're also accelerating, yeah? So they're also catching up, and you will always, with certain deep love connections, that love space will hold the connection and will allow for interfacing. And of course, you are also a power that, through the connection to someone who is at a lower spin, you are challenging them as well. You're pulling them up, you know, you're pulling them into a faster spin, which is also challenging for them. But the heart will arrange it in a ways that it can be lived still, the relationship. In the most harmonious possible way. So now let's just first feel the expansion that has taken place so far, the coolness that has trickled in, the lightness that has trickled in, the finest little mist, you know, finest little bubbles. Of sweet, light, fragrant energy. Reharmonizing, recalibrating your being. So as you're listening to this, this is a space of meditation as well. as we have said, that also the silence is a huge transmission frequentially through resonance. Yes, so the other thing that is happening is that the centripetal and centrifugal forces, and I don't know which one is which. One is pushing out and the other one is sucking in, is pulling in. That's the torus field. Yeah. This is, as this is accelerating, the sucking into the vortex, the pushing out is accelerating as well. Ajvari ikna aru unhoria tanu kutana sta. Iwa arni tana kutu. So this is some energy healing. It is up to you whether you receive it or not. Yes? Yes? You can decide to receive this healing, this recalibration, this expansion, this space. It's really space, 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 making space. Love is space. Because love just is. Love is what is. And then it gets densified and twisted and turned and so forth. And the distortion comes in with the inversion. But now just receive, if you will, Kiara Kutannu, Mahashma Evi, Mashtur Nakyaturu, Bashnakyaturu, Bohorla Katatanu, Jeuvo Ubhayatigata, Eshnaknauru Ubhawa Pagniotori Atakana. Excuse me. And none of this is coming from the mind. So I, whatever this, if you ask me, what does this mean? What does that mean? I don't know. It doesn't work over the rational mind. It doesn't work that way. It's energetic. It is only when I turn that part of the mind off that this can flow through. And we can all do this. We can all do this for ourselves and for our environment. When we open up to it. Oh, you can't even see the hands. Wah, karu kutono yashtiano urgataye tia dar pash nit nio toru paye evra arta Doro kutonori atayashti tanu Maharda hataknu uva maktatanu doro pate odora. This is an energy that's like, that's just what it sounds like. It's not like anything that's fierce or aggressive or so, okay? So it's like the most gentle, and at the same time it's very powerful. It's really activating our power. Jehovah makna ardi tan utoria makna arktita tana Jejva Arturluk no Mahatana Ehet Eiri, Jishna Arturu Ukto Uriatano. And also, yes, what is coming up is, what is coming up is that it, wow, Karnuk nuri ithan arkinana shtoru maarnukunu uriana jivra amma katana naturia mahatea jeshnu urupopapa yanakna artea tonuriatanu jivara makna arite. It's a code that is universal. They're saying, even though it's like unique coming through each vessel, and at the same time it's a universal code that is transcending all that is keeping us apart. So all the belief systems also that is keeping us apart, for example, also religious beliefs and any kind of belief really. So to really receive this, and if this is what is in resonance, yes, it is to go into a meditative mind state, yes. And then these codes, these frequencies, in the most gentle way, they bring transcendence to the outdated, if you so will, crusty, the crustaceanal conditioned mind, the conditioned belief systems that are not in resonance with the divine. Yes. And this is so beautiful and so powerful. And this is not that I'm the vessel. This is the vessel for it, but it has nothing to do in that sense with me. It is the way it comes through, of course, is unique, but it's universal. It is universal. So that welcome. That is. Hold on. So there's a being that just came in. Haya toro atano. Goro atano. Goro atano. I just have to give this being some attention first. Ah. Wow, okay. It's beautiful. There's just an energy, that consciousness, a being that showed up and just merged, just came in and merged. And the challenge is, to just be open, to just stay in the meditative mind. Yeah. There is no, everything that comes in here is in the spirit of oneness and love. There is nothing else that can penetrate. that would even be attracted. This is a very high frequency. More heart energy. Wow. More love that is coming through the throat chakra now. Wow. And I'm getting cold. I'm getting chills even though the heater is on. Full blast. Oh. Savra mukutono yestiano urhata kiatano ushtano veya akna ari iatano isna arkutono yesti bahara kata ashtono up arto tonya nanano to an ai niato to yataro jevar maknai tiatano. Oh, they're so happy. They're so happy. that I'm coming to them, that I'm doing this. So you see, once again, an experience of pushing on the, putting myself into being in a situation where it's pulling me down into density, where the brakes are pushed, and where I feel awful afterwards, even though I only have love in my heart. And it was, again, it wasn't an unpleasant in that sense. There was nothing unpleasant about the evening, but my physicality felt very unpleasant. So, and that is what inspired and motivated, me to want to do this this session. And this is the sharing, is that this is how we can turn every challenge into an acceleration. My darlings, know this. That is the power we have. Oh. That is the power we have, and it's the power of love, because it was only possible because I was able to hold my heart open. There was no judgment. Not a single thought of judgment. That's okay if the judgment comes up. That's perfectly fine. You know, if there is a potential for judgment, it will come up. It will come up. It will be challenged. It will be triggered. Yes. That just wasn't the case yesterday. And the beauty is also that this will be broadcast. So this energy, this frequency, through the making available of it, will be in the ethers, will be broadcast, will be available to everyone that resonates. Yes, yes. And it is like it's like, do you want to surf this wave? You know. If there's a resonance within you, and as you are attracted to this and you watch this, it's a wave that will come, you know, and all of this frequency, all of this high frequency that I'm feeling now, it is available to everyone that is watching. Yeah, and that's really amazing. That's beautiful. It's powerful. And I always said that, you know, when I was 16, I think it started, that I said to God, I prayed and I said, may I be your vessel. Okay, let's see what else wants to come through. I feel we're not done yet. Oh. Oh. Yeah, no, we're not done yet, because there was more download code that wants to be unpacked, and that came through this morning. Yeah. And this is a power that is ours, and the matrix environment is completely suppressing it. You know, so it's liberating itself now. and it is beautiful to show it when it comes through, because you will recognize it within you when you see, when you feel in resonance, when this resonates, you recognize it's within you. And it is the power of the king, it is the power of the lion heart, the crowned king. That is the Christ avatar consciousness. It is when the crown also, opens up, has a certain maturity, when it can allow through even the smallest sliver of the 12D frequency. Because the higher the frequency, it is always, it rules, It's like always the higher law that rules the lower law. Yeah. Even though it doesn't rule the physicality yet, because it's maybe just coming in a little bit. However, it's like the conductor of a symphony. Yeah. At the same time, it is the most powerful. It's the most, the higher you go, the more powerful, because it's the faster spin, and at the same time, it can be, it's still very, 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 very subtle. Yeah. But that's why now what came in this second is the song of Thich Nhat Hanh, the bell song, where he sings or speaks this, that even a single drop will bring back a single drop of this compassionate water will bring back the clear waters to the mountains and the rivers. I don't know if I said it right, but it's even tiny little sliver of this Christ consciousness frequency. So healing is so powerful, and recalibrating and clearing, and okay, I said that. And so of course the tears are flowing. It's a releasing of the matrix, literally, in the tears, releasing of the conditioning. Because in the tears there are, it's like crystalline. It's anyways, don't need to get into the structure of it. So this is the age, this is the time that where we are our own gurus, in the sense of what it really means. That word guru means from darkness to light. Yes, it's someone that is supporting you in the Socrates way, in the way that it is supporting the light within you to come forth, and that of course dispels the dark. And this is the limitation of words, because the true darkness in the sense of density, yes, because it is not darkness in the sense of the night and the feminine, because the feminine is the dark and the masculine is the light, because the feminine is the inside, the womb, the cave, and the masculine is the outside, you know, in the sun. The feminine is the inner earth, even though there's also a sun in the inner earth. Okay, but you know, the underground. So it's that is not the principle. When I use the word dark, it really means dense. Yeah. Dense, coming from inversion. Yeah. It is the inversion at the tip of everything that makes it even available, density, and creates shadow, division. So let us first find again our meditative stillness, as there is some more to unwrap here. Some more code that wants to come through. First, they want to love on us a little bit more. Yeah. Yes, this is also what they told me, is that, you know, this is for the reason that, you know, we joke sometimes is that, you know, if they would, if they would tell me like, okay, we are this and this collective, you know, put a name to it, we come from this and this and so forth, you know, it's my higher self. I know that it's my higher self. I know that it's not separate from me. I feel that it's me coming through, but it's just higher versions of my consciousness, you know. So if I were to put any kind of label to it, it would already create some kind of a barrier, you know, some kind of a box. And they don't want this to be any box. They want this to be a liberation from all boxes and to be like a universal fit all, so that no one, you know, if I would like put a label to it, identify it as a certain color, shape, or form, you know, coming from da 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 da, this dimension, this, I don't know, collective, and anyways, it could be all over the place, right? It would limit it, and there will be some that perhaps when it's blank, it's like a fit for all, and no one can then like get bounced back by, oh, that, but by the label of it. I don't know how to put it into words right now, but maybe you understand what I mean. Yeah, so they say, yeah, even though if you could say, you know, we are this and that collective, you'd probably get a lot more, you know, or not probably, but you might think that you may get a lot more, and it's possible that you would get a lot more, attract a lot more viewers or whatever, but that's not what's happening here. And, you know, that's not what it's about anyways, but yeah, that's why, you know, there's no labels. Yeah, it is what it is, and you can feel it. Yeah, and it's really also about letting that part of the is about the that part of the structured mind shall rest, and this is more of a, it does allow the expression of it to happen, yes. But analytical mind, yes. Analytical mind, yes. And structured mind, yes. Even though there is also structure coming through, however, it's like a neutral, yes, exactly. It has the neutral flavor. It's a neutral structure, yes. Yes. Relative. I mean, some people may not even be resonating with Christ consciousness, but it's relatively neutral. Yeah. Because that's even to say, to put that word to it, Christ consciousness, avatar consciousness. That is so that we have some kind of a structure, so that we have some kind of a paradigm in the understanding of the anatomy, but you can give it a different name, obviously. Yeah. And different cultures will give it different names. Yeah. Okay. It's universal. Yeah. And this is what is coming through, is that this is the time now where we come to this neutrality, where so what they showed me before is that in the past, if we go into our past and we go into all the traditions of how the divine was brought through and embodied, and how the divine can come through the neutrality when there is a meditative open space, non-judgmental, open heart, open mind, and nervous system. Yeah, not fear, of course. Fear is what squeezes it out. And throughout these eons, so many traditions have formed. And they have served their purpose beautifully, and they're beautiful traditions. However, through the fall of our time-space platform, the planet, into the denser frequencies, these different traditions have also caused, which was also timely, they have caused division. They have caused division. And this is what is now being transcended, this division. Yes. Yes. So that is the beauty of just me sitting here on my sofa sharing this. It's even hard for me to say me. I'm such in a different mind space that it's even hard to say me. That feels like already a label. It's like it's just consciousness. Yeah, that's what feels, that at least that's what feels best, is not even to go into any kind of coloring, Yeah. Even though it's so beautiful how it will come, it is, how it comes through everyone in a very, very unique way. But that is why, for example, I was never... okay, so more is coming now. I was never drawn to any kind of tradition and to learn anything of any kind of like tradition, or to be initiated into any kind of tradition or so forth, because of the simplicity of this beauty, of this, or of how beautiful the simplicity is, that every single one has access. Every single person can sit. Yeah, they may not share it, but every single person has this access now. Potentially, if their consciousness is ready, of course, when they're ready. Because when they're not ready, they're not ready. It's not meant. It comes in a different way. Their development is in a different way. But they're also, This is the time where the divine comes through to everyone, because it comes through collectively now, comes through cosmically. The alignments are now there. All right, they're happening. It's available again. And so what brings it in is the heart. That's the I. The I am is here. Yes, that is right. That is the I am in the vessel, and the core of the heart is where our quanta is, where our soul spark is, where the God spark is. And that's where, from the highest frequencies of the even non-form giving dimensions, it all now comes through. So, and our DNA, our human DNA, is the 12-strand DNA, is the 12D template. So we can pull in those frequencies and those codes. Yes, and we don't even have to know about any of this. That is simply the heart. That is the goodness, the compassion, the love, the openness of a heart. That's all it takes. In that moment where you look into someone's eyes and they smile, a genuine smile, that is when Christ consciousness, there's nothing in the way of it anymore, and it can flow through. Because it's in the template now. It is pulled through from the earth itself. And so they were showing me, how do you want to say it? Yeah, you can just keep rolling like this. Okay. Because sometimes I don't know, shall I just channel it directly or say it like this? Okay. And this is a new level for me. That's why when I get to a new level, I'm always a little bit wobbly. New level of expansion here is happening this morning. So, yeah. So, okay. So what were they showing me? Yes, that on the one hand, I can, I have this time or I have this or had this recurring, feeling of how I'm alone. I have no one to share, physically in my, no exchange with an actual person, share this with, and how I'm not part, yeah, now it's coming, thank you. How I'm not part of any group, and how there is like a yearning to be to have a collective, to have companionship, to to play with others, and the quality of, oh wow, also like abilities that I'm not in that sense, I'm not like, I don't have the abilities to be psychic, and to maybe and to know, okay, where does my soul come from, my higher self on that level, who are they? All of this knowledge, and so in other sense, I'm just I'm a very simple, normal person, and I'm all alone, and living like a isolated, very simple life. And it's all here, and it's all available. And I don't have anything in my environment that is nourishing me. That is, it's the opposite. The environment is extremely dense. And yet I am sitting here. I feel so light. I am so awash in these high loving frequencies. And this is all I'm doing. I've always been sharing it. Well, not always, but I've been sharing these sessions. That is how available it is to everyone. And everyone will find it in their own way. Oh, wow. Wow. And I heard a woman tell me recently, who is involved in Buddhist center or something, Buddhist center, and she said how difficult it is to step out of the wheel of karma. And when she said that, it was like that's not even part of my reality. It feels like it's an old story. It's an old belief system, and it has absolutely its value. I could tell that I could so quickly and easily tune into it and resonate with her because it has its value. It has its reality where she's coming from. But instantly it would pull me down. Instantly it would put me in, it would densify me, put me in a box, and I knew this is the time where all the boxes just fly open. All that conditioning is dissolving because it's not, it's like we hold on to that truth. Well, it's a truth, it's an experience if we hold on to it in our belief system. But that is going to be challenged. Wow. It's not true for me anymore. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I can make a whole video on that, which I might, but I'm not going to say it now. And the energies are so strong now that they're coming in so light. I literally feel how I'm like a helium balloon or something. Being uplifted. The cooling of my nervous system. And again, this is not just happening in this body, yes? This is a field. This is tuning into a whole reality and timeline. Because every frequency is its own timeline, yes? This is its own reality, yes. So now we're coming closer to the other thing we wanted to share. But we can't rush this. And why would we want to? It's also, receive, make space. And the receiving is the being aware of these frequencies, which is like them in your body, the coolness, the lightness, the expansion. This is, by the way, also what transcends pain and illness. And I can tell right now, I just got, again, this little this is where we don't need food, the more, at some point, when we embody this kind of lightness, yeah, there's no hunger. There's no need for food. Because food is, it's energy, it's code. We get it. We get it like this through our consciousness, yeah. And our body is nourished. And it's the parts that, that are not stabilized, anchored in this high frequency, that then still need the physical food. Oh yeah, and there is, force. Force is the old way. It's saddling the horse from the wrong side, from the back end. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Force never, the heart never comes with force. Never. God never comes with force. Always with love. Only with love. Unconditional. Wide open. Yeah, so they're making me go into a meditative state. Yeah, or I'm being guided. Obviously, it's not making me. Yeah, yeah. The language is sometimes still old language. The more we tune into this, the more we can hold this frequency as well. We get our bodies used to it. Yes, yes. This is the other part that I that just wanted to be shared, and that is that on the one hand, you know, what has been happening and through the matrix, through the societal structures and so forth, the inverted matrix, is that all the traditions that have been holding value, that have been bringing through value, like the ceremonies and so forth, it's all being destroyed, really destroyed, and it's all like being in the rat race, you know, working and not having time for ourselves, and very, very stressful it has become, you know, in the inverted matrix and in our system that is of course collapsing now. But what it also did was the destruction of the traditions, and then you know, making everything the same, the cookie cutter, you know, like everything is like sterile and the same, gray. It's like it's all gray, you know. And the sustenance for the soul is being quenched, you know, and destroyed, and like lots of trees being cut down, and the stress, you know, everything's getting more expensive, and the and they're pulling more, you know, on more and more places they find ways to pull the money that we've earned, and we're actually even we actually even are have so much more, you know, but they're taking it, you know, they're taking it away. And so so that we have to work harder and harder, and actually our lives are not improving because of all the stress and so forth. Yeah. So what is that bringing what is that bringing forth? On the one hand, it's bringing forth more and more challenge, and suffering. On the other hand, this destruction and making everything the same, and taking, you know, like everything throwing between us, and challenging the light out of us, you know, like even the architecture and the way that the AC/DC, the power is produced, creating all these positive, an excess of these positive ions that, you know, and with together with the metal in the buildings, and the structure of the buildings, is that it squeezes our aura, it squeezes the light out of our aura. So the challenge is at its maximum. Yeah, it is at its maximum, the challenge that we face now in these times. The challenge to be ourselves, the challenge to be well, to be from our well, you know, to bring in the light into our bodies, and to expand our consciousness. Also, you know, if you're always in survival mode, where's the time? You know, where's the time to sit and meditate? Of course, you always have that time. You always can find that time if you wish, and so on the one hand, the challenge is there, is higher than it ever was. On the other hand, because of the suffering, for one, and for the next, because there is nothing, you know, there is hard, at least in my life here, you know, there is hardly anything. I mean, every single tree, every single blade of grass, I'm grateful for. Every single plant, I'm grateful for, you know. Yeah, every single house that has still a little bit of phi ratio in it, I'm grateful for, you know. And that's also what brings it about. It brings about this ability to be grateful for a one little daisy that's coming through the crack in the asphalt. Which, when you're in paradise, you may miss that. You know what I mean? So, and if we are somewhat comfortable and somewhat having a good time, are we going to every day sit down and meditate or do a session and connect with our higher selves, which is our self, our true self? Are we going to, what is pulling us to spend time with our soul? What is pulling us to ask, to not ask for the mind, but to want to know in the experience, who am I? Who am I and why am I here? I mean, this is, of course, also comes with the readiness of the soul, yes? But the temptation, because there's always a temptation, yes, to be in the throes of the matrix, to live the physical part of us, to stay in the box. Always something to distract us, and that temptation is usually, it's coming from fear, or it's coming from a place of, I'm so exhausted, all I can do is just veg out. You know, and I just want to, or I am in so much pain, I just want to distract myself, you know. And then there's addiction, and I just need to, you know, I'm in the throes of the addiction. But here's the thing, when the challenge and the suffering becomes so much that you can't take it anymore, that's when you start to look for relief. But true, you know, healing, true relief. Not, well, you know, when you realize, you know, you're strung out on your addictions, and you know, you've gone through all the distractions and so forth, you come to the place where it's either life or death. That's how it was for me. So it's almost a question, that's how the experience is, between life or death. And if you want to live, you need to wake up. You need to self-realize. And it's like, if you want to not kill yourself in this moment, you need to take another breath. Can you take another breath? Because that's how it was for me. I was at that point. Can I take another breath? Yes, I can. Okay. Can I take another? Because right after the breath, it's like, kill yourself, you know? So can I take another breath before I do that? Yes, I can. That's how it was for me. It was just from one breath to the next breath. And that's the beginning, to come back to yourself, is to just be with your breath. And now I'm feeling a lot of anxiety in me now, and I wonder what it is. In the between sacral and solar plexus, what happened? Uncharted territory. Okay. Yeah, when we expand beyond what we've expanded before, it's uncharted territory, and it will pull forth this, you know, the denser self, the smaller self. So that is why it's also said, and the shadow is the darkest right before noon, right before it disappears. It's the darkest, and the night is the darkest, and the sleep is the deepest right before the sun comes up. Yeah. So this is why these times are the most challenging, the hardest times. And at the same time, the opportunity is greater than it ever has been before. It's right there. It's wide open for us to self-realize and to re-merge with our soul. And it just starts. It starts in the tiniest. That's the beginning. But when you have a room that is completely dark, no light, and you would poke with the needle, and outside is the sun, and you would poke with the needle into the wall, there's no way you can't see that light. It can be the tiniest opening, but you can already see the light. And then when you can see the light, you will always put your attention there. You will go back to distractions, but you always come back to the light. So once the first poke is open, it's going to just open more and more and more. There's no way it will close again. It will open more and more. And that is more and more self-realization, self-knowing experience of your true self. Your true colors now can, begin to come through. Your true sound, your truth be spoken more and more. And then with that also, when you hear others speak, you can also tell if they're speaking their truth or if they're coming just from the conditioning, it's just like playing a record of what they've been unconsciously, of what we have been unconsciously recording, because that's what we do as children. We record everything unconsciously, and then we press play, and that mechanism is going on. And as that mechanism is beginning, it is like phasing out our soul awareness more and more and more, and more of our awareness, which is soul awareness, is self-experiencing through this mechanism, through that conditioning, and also called the egoic mind, which is a false separate self. Yeah, so the anxiety that I'm feeling is because I've never, I guess I've never opened up this much in front of the camera before. And there's a lot more to say, but I won't say it now. It will be said in future videos. And this is really more about the frequency that is being tuned into and embodied here and broadcast. Yes, the other thing is exactly. So as in this as the individuals, so the collective, in the small fractal, so the greater fractal. So as the, I've been shown, because I've always been asking, why am I here in a place that doesn't nourish me? It's such a dense place. I don't even feel at home here, never have. And there's no one, there's no one I can, like a friend or companion. And they say it's, that was okay, thank you, the centrifugal and the centripetal forces. Yes. So they say that this is a cauldron of transformation. There's nothing here on the outside that I could attach to give me something, so I can't, there's nothing here that will nourish me. So I have to turn to the only place that will nourish me, and that is within. And in fact, outside the noise is so loud, so I have to turn within into the silence, just to be able to deal or cope, or just to be okay. I have to turn within just to be okay. And then I realize that I'm more than okay. At some point I realize, wow, the power of it. And I realize that I would never have come to this place of finding all this within me if I would be living in a place that like I have in my life. I've lived in a place that was like paradise, where I would always go out into nature, and I would go to places, and I would also meet with people. And so that was very, very beautiful. And at the same time, it would not have been called for now, because it would have always kept me in the divide and playing the roles also. It would have kept me in my role, because how if you're interacting with others, they will see you as the identity that you show up with, and at the same time, this is the identity that wants to be transcended. So if you keep those relationships, they will still hold that idea of you, the way that they see you, and that will draw you into that idea of yourself and hold that. It's like a magnet almost that will hold that in place. And so this situation of being alone in a dense place that doesn't nourish makes me sit on the sofa a lot and go within, or on the floor, whatever. But it makes me sit and go within a lot, so that I can be well. And this is the I know this is the liberation, this is the awakening, this is such an acceleration. That's why they say this is a cauldron. Yeah. And I'm saying this also, I'm sharing this so that everyone, so that others can know this also, that you can know that because this is a universal truth. It is a universal truth. Yeah, that's why sages have gone into the caves and taken themselves out of society. And we don't need to do that today anymore. That's the thing. We don't have to meditate 13 years or have, like David Wilcock says, well, he got it from teachings, 13 years, not a single negative thought, and then you can be liberated. Yeah, maybe that it was that way once in the past, when the earth was even more dense and there was more division, even though now the division is it seems to be the greatest, because the shadow is the darkest, and the shadow now is also being revealed. It is the time of revelation. The shadow is showing itself. Right before or in its dissolution, because it's the dissolution part first that needs to be pulled up to the surface to be seen, and then we see all of it, and it's the darkest we could, it's the darkest of it. There's nothing, because it is what was hidden in the unconscious and in density and behind walls. In unconscious. So that is being pulled up into conscious awareness. All the shadow. And that's why things look the way they look. But they look also the way they look because the light is coming in so powerfully, and because they are on their way out. They are on their way to being dissolved. So not for the mind to misunderstand. The playing with each other and the ceremonies, and this is all coming. But it will come authentically. So the unauthentic self has to die. We can't play with each other anymore with the old roles, with an unauthentic self, with a false sense of self. Out of that, from that mask, from that, we can't have, because that creates entanglement. That creates also codependency and dramas and all of this. That doesn't want to be cultivated anymore, because we've done that. We have grown through that. And there are still those also that are still growing in that way. But many of us are ready to now play at a actually all of us are rising up. All of us are rising up. It's just that some of us it will take longer. It's just maturity and readiness. Has nothing to do with it. There's no value about it. It's simply age, if you so will. Yeah? Like a tree that is still younger, it can't bear fruit yet. That doesn't make it a less valuable tree. You know what I mean? Yeah. It brings a different quality. Yes. Oh, there's so much that I can't even express now because the energies are so strong, and they want to flow through. It's now flowing very strongly through the solar plexus, and it's a stream. It's like a light stream. There's like a beam that huge that's flowing through here, and it wants to be broadcast. So because this is an attunement into that frequential reality or timeline. Yeah. It wants to anchor. Yeah, and we will speak about timelines as well. And as you can see, this is not the kind of meditation where it's like, oh, I have to sit down and meditate. You know, it's not in that sense of, in other words, it's not force. It comes and gets me. Even though, yes, I felt this morning, I need to do it. I want to do it. It's like, I want to do a session. I need it like I'm thirsty and I want to drink water, like that. But not coming from the mind of, oh, I need to do a session, kind of like practice. It's not like that anymore. We don't force ourselves. We flow. All right, so another being just showed up. This is also what happens when we tune, when we raise our frequency, and we tune into higher frequential reality. We can interface more with the higher dimensional beings. Yeah, I don't see, it's a feeling. It's a perception. Energetically, I perceive, I know. Mm. Just a being that wanted to come and hold my hands and give me love. Could even be an ancestor. It's beautiful. Yes, there's so much rejoicing when we rejoin the light realms. Oh, yeah, so the last thing that, I can't, it's very strong. Very strong presence holding my hands. And all the beloveds in the field. Yes. Holding the field also. Embodying the field as you are here. And I'm speaking of the beloveds who will be watching this also. Because you are here now too. That's what I always feel, yeah. It's a very strong presence, oh gosh. Yeah. Oh. Just gonna put my hands down now. Thank you for coming. I love you. I love you. Come, sit. Sit. Yes, and what can also happen is that we become portals for others, for other beings. Yes. Portals of access. We accelerate and open up more access into the lighter realms. And we will notice how more and more silence opens up. And the silence is space. And it holds us still. And it transcends distortion. And shadow. So this being now, I feel, is working on me. Yes, so the healers also, the healing, we just receive it. When we are ready and we are open. Wow, it's really strong, the magnetism of this being. It's working on my throat now. And again, beloveds, all of you who are with us here, we are all in this together. This energy is also for you. If so willing, of course, and inviting. Wow. Yeah, there is no force here at all. I feel now that I'm receiving an activation, as I feel it now working on my hands, my hand chakras and throat chakra, which are the two. These are actually the three chakras that are the most where it's well, it's the heart, but you know, the sharing onto the recording is a lot through the voice and through the hands. So you can receive that. You are receiving it too, if so willing. This activation now, beloveds. Absolutely, absolutely. It is available here for you. To the degree that you know you are not separate from this energy. It is the same for me. There is nothing other or foreign here. And I'm receiving it because I'm ready. Now part of me wants to, you know, get some orange juice. I was like, oh, you're not quite ready yet. Yeah, this is really the most powerful session. Wow. You need nothing. Everything you need is inside of you. Beloveds, know this. Remember, always. This is the time we have come for. We are ready now. Each where they are, we are ready. How could anyone be left behind? That is a distortion of thought. Because there is only love here, awaiting. Always, always love here to welcome and receive you. As soon as it lets go, as soon as it surrenders, and it may not surrender ever until it dissolves, and then all that is there is love to catch you, to welcome you. This has never happened before. Part of me is getting antsy now. But there's still more to receive here. You know, this is so much more than what is happening here. It's not just about me. It's huge. And it can only happen because, you know, I can't take credit for any of it. I'm not doing any of it. It's happening. Okay. I will now close the session, the recording. I guess I need to sit some longer here, but I will now. It's a transforming wave, a transformative wave, transcending wave. Yes, I made myself available and I'm an amplifier of it. Or I tuned into it, and just by going within, and everyone we think of, we bless them with love. And if we cannot do that, then it's best to let that thought go. Do not focus on what you cannot bless. And it's not a denial. We know the shadow is still there. But if we cannot receive it in neutrality, then do not focus on it, because it will only then self-perpetuate and reinforce. So this being is not going away. It's holding my hands, and I will terminate the recording now. Thank you, everyone who shared in this space. Thank you also by sharing and receiving